August 6th, 1945, dawned bright and clear over Hiroshima, Japan. It was a Monday, and the city was bustling with life. No one could have imagined the horror that was about to unfold, an event so cataclysmic it would forever alter the course of human history. This is the story of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a solemn reminder of the devastating power we possess and the urgent need to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again. This essay will explore the events leading up to the bombings, the immediate impact on the ground, and the long-lasting consequences for both Japan and the world. We will hear the voices of survivors, witnesses to the unimaginable, and reflect on the moral and ethical questions raised by these acts of unprecedented destruction. Their stories, filled with pain, resilience, and a profound yearning for peace, serve as a stark warning from the past and a call to action for the future. The world had been at war for 6 long, grueling years, with countless lives lost and cities reduced to rubble. Fueled by aggressive expansionism and a desire for dominance, Japan had launched relentless attacks across Asia and the Pacific, drawing the United States into the conflict with the infamous bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. As the war raged on, a different kind of battle was being waged in secret laboratories around the world. A race against time to develop the ultimate weapon, the atomic bomb, which promised unparalleled destructive power.
The Manhattan Project, a top-secret U.S. government program initiated in 1942, brought together some of the world's brightest minds, including renowned physicists like J. Robert Oppenheimer and Enrico Fermi. Their mission was clear yet daunting: to harness the power of the atom and create a weapon of unimaginable destructive force, capable of ending the war.
In the desolate landscape of New Mexico, amidst the barren desert, the first atomic bomb was tested on July 16, 1945, in an event that would change the course of history. The Trinity test, as it was known, unleashed a blinding flash and a deafening roar, shaking the very earth, leaving an unforgettable mark on the desert floor and signaling the dawn of the atomic age, a new era of warfare and power.
Faced with a protracted war in the Pacific and a resolute Japanese enemy showing no signs of surrender, President Harry S. Truman made the fateful decision to use this new, devastating weapon against Japan, hoping to end the conflict swiftly. The goal, according to U.S. officials, was to force a swift Japanese surrender and bring an end to World War II, saving countless lives that would be lost in a prolonged war.
But the decision to unleash such devastating force upon civilian populations remains a deeply controversial one, fraught with moral and ethical complexities that continue to be debated to this day as the world grapples with the legacy of atomic power. At 8:15 a.m. local time on August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay, a B-29 bomber, released its deadly payload over Hiroshima. The uranium bomb, nicknamed Little Boy, detonated 1,900 feet above the city with a blinding flash and an ear-splitting roar. The world had never seen anything like it. Hiroshima, a city of 350,000 people, was instantly transformed into a scene of unimaginable chaos and destruction. Buildings were reduced to rubble in a heartbeat. The intense heat, estimated to have reached several thousand degrees Celsius at the hypocenter, vaporized everything in its immediate vicinity.
A monstrous mushroom cloud, towering miles high, cast an eerie shadow over the devastated landscape. In the aftermath, survivors described a scene of utter devastation. Those who were fortunate enough to survive the initial blast faced a nightmarish new reality, a world of fire, rubble, and unimaginable suffering.
The air was thick with smoke and dust, the stench of death overwhelming. Burns, lacerations, and radiation sickness became the invisible enemies, silently claiming lives in the hours, days, and weeks to come. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, the world watched in horror as another American B-29 bomber, Boxcar, arrived over Japan. This time, the target was the port city of Nagasaki.
At 11:02 a.m., a plutonium implosion bomb, nicknamed Fat Man, detonated over the city's industrial valley. The bomb's detonation, while geographically less destructive due to the city's hilly terrain, unleashed another wave of unimaginable suffering.
Nagasaki, though a secondary target after cloud cover obscured the primary target, Kokura, was nonetheless devastated. The bomb's detonation unleashed a force equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT, instantly killing tens of thousands. The blast, heatwave, and subsequent firestorm left a city scarred and its people reeling from the unimaginable.
As in Hiroshima, the aftermath of the Nagasaki bombing was a gruesome tableau of death and despair. The injured, many suffering from horrific burns and radiation sickness, searched desperately for loved ones amidst the rubble. Hospitals, overwhelmed and ill-equipped to deal with the unique horrors of atomic warfare, struggled to provide even basic care.
The immediate devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was only the beginning of a long and painful journey. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, the true horror of the atomic bomb's power continued to unfold, revealing the depth of its destructive capabilities.
The deadly effects of radiation poisoning took a silent and gruesome toll on the population, affecting men, women, and children alike. Victims developed nausea, fever, and hair loss, symptoms that were both terrifying and relentless. Their skin blistered and peeled, their internal organs slowly shut down, leading to a painful and inevitable death for many. Thousands died in the weeks and months following the bombings, succumbing to the insidious effects of radiation poisoning, leaving behind a trail of sorrow and loss.
Those who survived faced a lifetime of increased cancer risks, birth defects in their children, and the profound psychological trauma of having witnessed hell on Earth, a trauma that would never fully heal. The bombs had left an indelible mark on their bodies, their families, and their futures, altering the course of their lives forever.
The long-term impact of the bombings extended far beyond the immediate casualties, affecting generations to come. The cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, once vibrant centers of life and culture, lay in ruins, a stark reminder of the bomb's destructive power. Rebuilding would be a long and arduous process, both physically and psychologically, requiring immense effort and resilience from the survivors.
The bombings had left an enduring legacy of fear, uncertainty, and a profound sense of loss that would continue to haunt survivors and shape the world's view of nuclear weapons, serving as a grim reminder of the horrors of war. The stories of those who lived through the atomic bombings are harrowing testaments to the human cost of war.
One survivor, a young girl at the time of the Hiroshima bombing, recalled the blinding flash and the deafening roar that seemed to last an eternity. She described the horrifying scenes of chaos and suffering she witnessed in the aftermath, the injured crying for help, the dead lying in the streets.
Another survivor, a doctor in Nagasaki, spoke of the overwhelming number of patients flooding the hospitals, many with injuries unlike anything he had ever seen before. He spoke of the lack of medical supplies, the desperate struggle to save lives, and the haunting memories of those he could not.
Their stories, filled with unimaginable pain, resilience, and a profound sense of loss, serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the importance of striving for peace. They challenge us to remember the victims, to learn from the past, and to work tirelessly to prevent such atrocities from ever happening again. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked a turning point in human history, forever altering the course of international relations and warfare. They ushered in the nuclear age, an era defined by both the immense promise of atomic energy and the terrifying threat of nuclear annihilation. The duality of nuclear technology has since been a source of both hope and fear. The world had witnessed the destructive power of these weapons firsthand, and the specter of nuclear war hung heavy over international relations. The global community was forced to confront the reality that a single misstep could lead to unprecedented devastation.
In the decades that followed, the world grappled with the implications of this newfound power. Nations sought to balance the benefits of nuclear energy with the existential risks posed by nuclear weapons. The Cold War saw a dangerous arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union, each nation amassing vast nuclear arsenals capable of destroying the world many times over. This period was marked by intense rivalry and a precarious balance of power. The threat of nuclear war became an ever-present reality, a source of constant anxiety and a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. Society adapted to this new normal, with drills and shelters becoming part of everyday life.
The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serve as a stark reminder of the devastating power we possess and the urgent need to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again. These events are etched into the collective memory of humanity. They challenge us to remember the victims, to learn from the past, and to work tirelessly to create a safer, more peaceful world for all. The stories of survivors are a testament to human resilience and a call to action.
The road to nuclear disarmament is long and challenging, but the alternative, a world held hostage by the threat of nuclear annihilation, is simply unacceptable. Activists and leaders alike must continue to push for meaningful change. The lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki must guide our actions, reminding us that the pursuit of peace and the elimination of nuclear weapons are not just noble goals, but imperative for the survival of humanity. We owe it to future generations to strive for a world free from the shadow of nuclear threat.